What is up, everybody? How's it going out there, Ballsville Nation? Here with my boys, Scott, aka Loons for Sale, my co-host with me today. He's here because we sent Connor on a very secret Ballsville mission, guys. He's going out. He's going to find something amazing for us. And when he comes back, you guys are going to be shocked at what he brings back to the table. Actually, I'm just kidding. It's a vacation he's had planned for a few months now. So we'll see him in a few weeks. But it'd be really cool if he had a cool Ballsville mission for him, wouldn't it? So, and joining us today is our special guest, good buddy of mine. We've actually hung out in person, so we've got one over on you, Scott. Me and him have actually met each other. So, Jojo, my friend, how are you today?
Pretty good, man. We're trying to get to Ken and Scott status. That's why we had to meet up,
I know, right? Yeah, we had to get ourselves a little selfie too. Ours wasn't in front of the Hall of Fame or anything, but Raiders Stadium.
Exactly. Well, you know what? Maybe we'll have to put that on the docket, though. We got to go visit the Hall of Fame together, maybe. But other than that, man, it's been a rough week.
We'll make that one of the Ballsville meetups. We'll do a Hall of Fame Ballsville meetup. Everybody will stay at Scott's place.
There you go.
There you go.
Awesome, man. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of these injuries before we get going into our guillotine stuff, guys, because there was just so many wacky things that happened this week, and the injuries are just one part of those that we want to get into a little bit of. So let's start out with, the biggest news, in my opinion. There's two biggest newses, but I'm going to put the better player on top for this one, and we're going to talk about Brandon Aiyuk and his unfortunate knee injury, which honestly to me, I thought maybe he's had something to do with like a chest or rib injury from the initial hit. It looked pretty brutal. And then the other angle, all of a sudden you see his knee bent back like some sort of weird alien creature. And you realize what really happened. But yeah, what did you think, Scott? I mean, in San Francisco, do you think that it's going to be, the Ricky show now, or is it going to be Jennings? What do you think?
I think it's going to go back to Jennings. He was in there when Aiyuk was holding out. And Jennings, like I said before, in our previous pods, that I think the Aiyuk signing was a terrible signing. I think they could have went right with Jennings. He gave just as much production in that offense. So I think it's going to be Jennings. And then we seen there was a Ricky Pearsall sighting, last week. So I think they'll slowly integrate him into the offense. And then I'm thinking once McCaffrey comes back, they'll shift more to a, kind of a little bit of more of a run scheme. But yeah, I think Jennings is the next up, along with Ricky, sprinkling a little Ricky Pearsall.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one. I definitely think that Jennings he just knows the offense better. Ricky's still a rookie, and he really lost a lot of time going through that injury recovery. So, I think that he'll play, but I just think it'll be later in the season that he starts to shine a little bit. Right now, it's going to be Jennings and then Debo when he's done, hacking up a lung or whatever it was that was causing his sickness. So I think he'll be okay moving forward, though. So other than that, I'm with you on the Jennings show. Jojo, you got any tidbits you want to throw in on the Niners?
Yeah, I mean, Debo, I guess, just had a form of pneumonia. Shanahan said after the game, no timeline yet when he could return, but we should know in the next few days. I'm kind of with you. I think he's more of a clearer outlook than Aiyuk, obviously. So at least coming back to play. I'd definitely say Juice Jennings.
Anybody else has had pneumonia? I've had pneumonia in the past and stuff. It's usually like a 4 or 5 day window if you treat it right with medication. So he should be okay by next Sunday.
For sure. And then just in the past, Juice Jennings has always come up big when either one has been out. So I go Juice, and then maybe the young guys. I mean, Pearsall had 5 targets, I believe. Let me just double check again. Yeah, he had 5 targets. Ronnie Bell had 2. Conley 2. Cowing had 3. Those guys are all probably going to vibe. Maybe get slight bumps to usage, but I don't think they're anything fantasy relevant in the formats that we have. Really, I mean, they could just be depth pieces for your bench, but other than that, that's it.
You think it benefits Kittle at all?
I mean, Kittle's been the most consistent tight end that no one's talking about. Like everybody's like, Brock Bowers, he's a rookie, he's flash. And Njoku's now could be a top 3 tight end, maybe the top guy rest of the way. I think he benefited the most. I wrote both of those guys up in the DFS article. They both smashed. but they see the most usage. But Kittle's been remarkably the most
benefit, right? He got a trade, and then his quarterback that was causing a lot of problems for his production got hurt, and he's probably not playing all season either. So you're looking at the double whammy of best case scenario for his fantasy production.
100%.
So yeah, I'm with you on that, man. I think Njoku, and I do think Kittle also jumps up there a little bit more. I think a couple of targets a game, which for Kittle could be like a huge benefit, in that offense, the way that he gets open. So, we'll see how that plays out. The other one that I really wanted to touch on, not so much for the long-term aspect of it, because it sounds like he's going to be back now, but how much of the Jaden Daniels effect did you guys have this week with the injury happening? How many teams did it hit on your rosters? I mean, I had a good 5-6 teams myself that I barely snuck by on a couple of them, thanks to some other players that stepped up that I didn't anticipate would. But other than that, man, that was really, really brutal for me on a lot of leagues, especially my high dollar league. It really hurt in that one.
I only had a couple shares of them, so it didn't hurt me that bad. But I mean, he was the play. He was the cash play in DFS, and the Sharks or the experienced players that went with him. Like I told everybody this week, with him going down, it kind of crushed a lot of cash lineups. So this week was a win for all the fish in DFS, because a lot of the experienced players kind of took the loss this week, and the fish kind of won this week. So that's kind of how that all played out. I know JoJo kind of pivoted. I think JoJo went to Geno this week, which is a very smart move.
But I'm a fish too, man. Don't get me wrong. I'm still a fish.
Hey, man, if if you could win every time, they would just call it winning and not gambling. So, at some point, you got to take the goods with the bads, right?
I like playing down a quarterback in DFS.
We got a Zoom sighting, everybody. We got a Zoom sighting. So sleep over at Scott's. Oh, look at that.
Scott's already in bed. Look at him.
I'm already in bed.
He's channeling his inner Ken. Okay.
Hey, remember, it's buddy. Midnight here on the East Coast, guys.
It's true.
Right? Oh man, you love it. All right. So, in the interest of not dragging this thing on like I have a tendency to do, I want to jump right in to these guillotine leagues. So let's go ahead and share the screen and go over some of our initial league here. Our Legend of Sleepy Hollow. These names are going to sound a lot more fun here in a week when we're all in Halloween costumes, aren't they?
I was gonna say, man, Scott has a bedtime, man. We gotta wrap this up as soon as possible.
Right. I told him, man, with the combination of that and the white shirt and everything, I thought he was in a hospital bed. I said, bro, what happened to you, man? Like, you okay, man? You don't have to get on the pod if you're hurting, bro.
No, married to the game, baby.
Scott's like, no matter what, he's like the mailman, dude. He's like, no matter what, bro, I am on the pod, dude.
I'm on. I won't let you guys down.
Oh, I love it, man. We appreciate your dedication, my friend. So let's roll into this league. All right. So another reason I'd like to jump into these quicker is because I really want to be able to highlight some of the better teams and spend a little more time on the leagues, because I feel like I've been neglecting some of you guys who are kicking ass. So I want to make sure I give you guys a little bit of love. So we're getting up into that point where almost every team is starting to get into the 80 or higher range, with the exception of the couple of guys that are usually sweating it out on Monday night, especially when there's two games, by the way. Let's talk about the fact that there was two games today, which added a whole lot more aspect with multiple players on multiple teams going. So Scott was even a little freaked out in this league for a while there. He snuck it out in the end thanks to, was it Derrick Henry, right?
Yeah, I needed Derrick Henry to come through tonight, and he did.
Love it. I love it, man. So, he ended up, short stack, Legend of Super BS, though. TB76, our boy, is at more than a feeling. He's still going strong. All these guys are over 100 points, man. It's pretty awesome, dude, to see where we're going in these leagues. This is what's so much fun about these guillotine leagues, too. You start to get to this point, man, and it's just like these situations now. These guys are going to get all these good players. You're so excited about your starting lineups now. You're like, man, dude, this is going to be a blast, dude. I get to start so many studs. And you get to play around with your trades potentially with your bench, and this is that point in the season. From here till basically the playoffs is, to me, really where it starts to get a lot of fun. So, anyways, that being said, we're moving up here. I think we had the highest scoring league. We had another couple of 100-point scores. Our boy Zoobs, good job, Zoobsies. Look at you up there with the 102, right next to Team Mean Machine with the 104. So both of you guys are up there high. It looks like our boy TB76, man. Congratulations, brother. You are the top scoring team in this league. Awesome. Jojo, are you in this one? I don't see you in here. I don't think you are. Right?
Not in this one.
I'm just in one of them. Yeah, I'm at the end.
It's all good in the hood. This one is a fun one to be in the, because we got a couple of us in it. Me, Tortoise, and Scott are all still alive. So we lost our boy Maui James in the last week or two, I think. So but we still got quite a few of the people that we've seen on here before. Although I don't think Maui's made it on a pod yet. I need to get him on one of these Ballsville pods so you guys can meet him. He's a great guy. You'll like him.
Connor's still in this one too.
Thank you. Yes, Connor. I knew there was somebody I was forgetting. How could I forget Connor?
How could you forget Connor? He's the co-host of this show.
I know, right? He's out of sight, out of mind, man. Oh man. So that was a pretty solid squad there. I didn't mean to click off of that. I meant to go through it real quick. We got Mahomes, Jacobs, and Jones, both of those two. That's where his bread and butter was right there. And then you sneak Justin in there, and also with over 20 points. I mean, that's kind of the number, right? The Dub Club. When you hit that Dub Club, man, you're up there in that. Okay, I'm happy with your production day. I'm not gonna lie. 18 out of a guy like Kate Otten isn't gonna upset you either.
No,
but yeah, definitely made up for a couple of the Patrick has just not been playing up to Patrick par lately. I mean, are you guys getting hit with any of that on your dynasty rosters, especially? I got quite a few shares of Mahomes and some dynasty rosters and shit. Is that bothering you guys as far as his production? Are you scared that this is going to be consistent for the rest of the season with the way the receiving core is?
I mean, I'm not really moving on from him from dynasty, but I sold a few shares of him in redraft just to tier down and try to add a different position because I traded him in one league. I think I traded him for Devontae Smith and Geno just to tier down a little bit and add a piece because I was hurting at the flex and just move on from him because it's
was that redraft or dynasty?
Yeah, that's redraft. Yeah. Redraft you can't wait. I mean you especially if you're a middling team in the middle of standings, you got to start eventually making a push and like I always say, draft capital in redraft after the week one starts, you can throw draft capital all out the window because from there on going forward, it just points at that point. So, it doesn't matter where you drafted these guys in redraft once the season starts.
And it has been an odd season in the way that I feel like there's just a lot of my leagues that seem to be more muddled than normal by this point in the season. At this point in the season, I'd see a lot more leagues that have at least kind of like a cream at the top, and then kind of a tier level going on. It seems like there's really not a lot of leagues for me like that right now that are there's for sure dead teams and there's for sure teams that are kicking ass. A lot of them are kind of, you're sitting there at a 50-50 right now, 3-4, what do we have this week? 7, right? So 3-4 if you lost this week, or 4-3 if you won, and you were sitting at 3-3. I think you're still alive in most leagues. At least I am, in the way my leagues are played out. Are you guys noticing the same thing at all, or is that just a weird circumstance I'm seeing?
No, I mean, there's what I'm seeing most of is, show me a roster that was a complete roster that you drafted week one. I don't think anyone's had their whole roster survive to this point. Show me a roster.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. It's been patchwork across the board. So it's everybody's been having a week here or a week there that, they're not really kicking ass, with the exception of just a couple of my leagues, one of them being a high dollar league, unfortunately. But there's mostly everybody in kind of a one range area. It's really trippy.
Yeah, I feel like if you haven't been hit hard by the injury bug, it's probably coming. You think you're safe, but every single week is just There's
Well, and I
always
think a
another
lot of
story.
people, it's almost like spread out so much because there is so much of it going on that it seems like almost every team is going through something right now with a major player that they drafted or that they had been counting on. Like, I mean, look at what we just talked about. You just lost two major receivers. Godwin was like wide receiver one, wasn't he, or close to it a couple weeks ago, or at least last week maybe?
No, he was. I believe. It says wide receiver 2 now, but like I believe he was wide receiver 1 as like even as last week.
Yeah, right up until this game, basically, or until this set of games for this week. But yeah, that's crazy to me, man. That like we just lost. He's gone for the year most likely, based on what you guys were telling me. I didn't see the actual aftermath of the injury right out the gate, but anything aircast is not a good sign.
Yeah.
Oh, dislocated ankle out indefinitely. Thank you, Zuby. So yeah, that's definitely going to be one of those things that he ain't coming back from anytime soon. So. And then Mike Evans, that hammy issue, like he was already dealing with a hammy when he came in, and the way that he got tackled on that hammy, you could tell like the moment he hit the ground, he knew it, and he just kind of like stiffened up, went with the rollout, and then instantly grabbed his hammy and started screaming. So yeah, to me, I mean, if anybody else ever had that pop feeling, I bet you money that's kind of what happened to him the moment he hit the ground.
I mean, everybody should know by now, I'm the biggest Mike Evans fan probably around, and I just think he probably should have sat out today, and not, because next week, and this is when you got to look at, how valuable you are to your team. Next week they played a divisional game against Atlanta, and, they could have really used him for that game. This game, it's the chances of you beating the Ravens are probably not very high. Plus it's an AFC team. You're not going to see them in the playoffs. So, looking ahead.
Especially after he pulled up on the first touchdown. It kind of limped back to the sideline. After that, I've been like, hey, man, thank you. You got us a touchdown. You're sitting for us again.
That should have been the end of it right there.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, man. I was 100% irritated with that. And then the fact that Godwin was on the field at that point in the game, I thought was slightly ludicrous. I didn't see any reason at that point to be playing your starters still. I felt like they were out of reach at that point. I mean, what are the odds of you getting, another field goal, onside kick, and touchdown within what would they have, like a minute and change or something like that left at the time, and no timeouts?
Yeah.
So I mean, to me, it wasn't worth. It was kind of like, I think you just concede at that point, man. I mean, you got the first onside kick, yeah, hey, and then you just let him go run right down the field, score a touchdown again, like. You got to know at that point, hey, man, like we just got to move on. This game's not in the cards for us. We want to make sure we can play Atlanta next week, right?
Exactly.
I think it was like 45 seconds left in the game.
Yeah, they would
really see. I mean, at that point, like, come on, dude, you're down by over two possessions at that point, or you're like 2 possessions, right? 11 points or whatever it was, 10 points, something like that.
It was 10 points, but still, the only reason why they got there is they got the first onside kick, and then. But it's football, man. I mean,
it's crazy that crazy ass, like low ass percentage onside kick is probably what cost them Godwin. If that onside kick doesn't happen, the way the rest of the game plays out, they probably aren't in that position at that point.
Yeah, they're just kneeling the ball.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, it is what it is. Shit happens. I like Godwin. It's unfortunate because as a player, I've always liked him, and he always seems to be like just on the precipice of like, okay, reaching his potential, and then injury. And this is like the second time I feel like this has happened to him, where he's like right there, like, oh man, this is the Godwin we knew we could get from him, and then boom, another major injury. And this is just like, it didn't feel like this was anything, like this isn't like, oh yeah, this is another same kind of related to his previous. No, this is a whole separate kind of just weird, circumstantial accident kind of thing, So sucks. But anyways, let's move on and let's talk a little bit about the team that is no longer with us in this league. Let's find you out. Where are you? You're hiding from us. I know you're here. And there it is, the team that I was matched up with this week, our buddy TC Show, who I feel like was knocked out in another league just last week. So I'm really sorry. I feel like this is maybe back-to-back weeks for you, dude. And if that's the case, that's like the double whammy that you never want. So let's look at his team, though, and see what we get to play with next week, huh? So right. Baker Mayfield, man, like Okay, so where's Baker out of the quarterbacks right now? He's got to be close to the top, right? Top 3 at minimum, like maybe even the top guy right now.
Yeah, he still had a pretty decent game considering that the game got out of hand. He threw a couple bad picks, but still had like I think 250 and 2. So yeah, he's still
he had 370 and 3.
Oh yeah, 370 and 3.
370 and 3, yeah, and a 2-point conversion.
So yeah, but a lot of that was in garbage time though. But yeah, it all counts the same. But yeah, he's still. I mean, the thing is though, going forward though, I mean, do you really want to invest your shekels on him as a quarterback now that he's possibly going to be down for sure one receiver, if not 2, for another couple weeks?
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that one, man. It's like one of those kind of question mark scenarios with him. So I think it'll affect his overall cost for sure. The fact that he's a quarterback also, because I don't think people are quite ready to start investing in their second quarterback to reach the super flex mode or anything. So, quarterbacks don't seem to go quite as high as the other positions in general. So yeah, I definitely think that it'll be interesting to see, but I don't think he'll be the top guy. I mean, Achane has a chance, especially with Tua coming back. I think people are going to see some enticing, things on that offense coming forward. Also, Tyreek, if Tua does come back and play this week, I mean, Tyreek might be a good pickup at the price you could get him for right now. So, Tank Dell, where do you think Tank Dell's going to fall? I mean, let's go to JoJo, right? Because wasn't JoJo like a big Tank Dell like truther in the preseason?
This is how many points Tank Dell got this week.
Trust me, I know. That was on my roster. He was coming to life last week. I thought this was another blow up spot. He drops a touchdown in the end zone. I think it was a couple weeks ago. Actually, I think it was like week 2 or week 3 when they were on primetime with the Bears. He dropped one like in stride on a post. Probably would have waltzed in the end zone then too. I don't know what's with his hands. Like I think you guys have been mentioning something about him. He got shot in the offseason. Maybe he's not getting in and out of his breaks. I think he's getting open. His hands have just been a little iffy lately. I mean, this year, I can't say lately. It's just been this season.
I hope he doesn't eat. I hope he doesn't eat with those hands. That'd be pretty messy.
I know. I don't know what it is, man. It's just a little.
Or maybe he needs to stop eating something buttery before games. Who the hell knows?
Because
man?
He's getting targets. Targets are earned. Like you get open, you get the ball thrown to you. So it's like it's really hard to kind of pinpoint what's going on. There's got to be a head thing.
I mean, he only had 4 targets in a game that like they were in the game, but it wasn't like it was a game where they could have just sat back and did nothing, right? I know CJ had a horrible game, and I mean Stephon didn't even have a good game either. So it's not like it went the other way or anything.
I even like throw it back to Scott. Is he really CJ Shred? Have you been calling? Because he has not been.
No, he's not been CJ Shred lately, and I'm actually very disappointed.
Right, exactly. I feel like when Mixon came back, they tried to switch to like this kind of run heavy offense with Mixon, and Nico being knocked out. I think they just said, "Hey, we're going to try this run heavy ball control style of game," and it's just not conducive to like CJ's like rhythm, and he can't really get into kind of a flow,
I mean, yeah, they only threw the ball 21 times, like this is an offense that threw all the time last year, but their offense is based off the run. Bobby Slowick, I believe he's in the McVay tree or the Shanahan tree, one of the two. But either way, both offenses are built off the run, right? So they run off the play fake, play action pass.
Yeah, run to set up the pass. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, run set the pass, but like still like this offense was definitely an offense that we thought CJ Shroud I'm like saying Shroud and Shred at the same time. CJ Shroud should be like, throwing the ball 30 to 35 times every game. So this was a little concerning, but hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Joe Mixon's definitely a top running back.
Oh, look at Trevor chiming in about how he lost to me, even though he went with some weird
Schlimberger.
Yeah, he lost to me because Dell put up a goose egg. It wasn't quite because of that, because I ended up like beating him by a good like 30 points or so, but that definitely had a factor.
And Trevor can't be calling Stroud a bust, because it's hard to call a guy a bust when he can't throw the ball, when he's unable to throw the ball because they hand the ball off all the time. So that doesn't, you can't consider him a bust. A bust would be like Mahomes, who actually is throwing the ball, but it's not accurate. So
yeah,
that
it could have been game specific for the Packers. They might have been wanting to keep Love off the field and keep the offense, on the sideline as much as possible. Who knows?
Yeah, that's part of it. Yeah, that keep the ball out of their hands. But yeah, it's a little concerning though. It is a little concerning going forward.
I stand corrected. I mean, this was the first game he didn't throw over 30 passes, CJ Stroud. So this is just a little different. I think it was just a different type of game environment.
And specific, I think maybe the way that they read Green Bay's defense, because Green Bay's defense has been pretty good, but they've been opportunistic good. Like I think their pass defense is slightly better than their run defense. I mean, maybe I feel like if there was a tool or something that could give us some sort of insight on that we might know some more about that, but I feel like it, just from the eyeball test that's the case.
Yeah.
So,
I think he's would you, okay, let's put it this way. Would you CJ Stroud, Patrick Mahomes rest of the season?
I still go CJ Stroud.
Yeah, I think I do too, because Nico's coming back and he still has his main receiving car. I mean, Juju got hurt this week too, didn't he? Like
hamstring, right?
Yeah, he pretty much buried me in like all my leagues. I had him in so many leagues in redraft, and he just freaking gave me a 0.
And he was the value pick of the week in DFS too.
Yeah,
like, he was one of them. Like there was a couple, but he was one of the.
Well, it made sense. I think he would have had a great game if he didn't get hurt. He was a guy that was kind of in line to take a lot of those like crosses over the middle that Rice was just stealing, multiple long distance yards with, like yak yards, I should say. So, yeah, no, I definitely think that Dell's going to take a hit. I mean, shoot, you might get him for free. My boy Kincaid, man, he's going to go cheap, isn't he? Son of a gun. I got to take the crow on that one.
I mean, I was with you. Kincaid was my number one tight end too. So like those are the two probably the biggest misses I've had so far this season.
Can we go over why this guy lost this week? And I want to chime in with why this guy lost this week. So if you scroll all the way down to the IR spots, and you see he has 2 guys on IR. One is Cooper Kupp and one is Christian McCaffrey. And this is why I think he lost. He did not make it this far, because he spent valuable money, which is very valuable in what I'm learning in Guillotine, on 2 players that never saw his lineup.
Yeah. And didn't you mention that? Or maybe we were just talking on the phone and we talked about what was going to happen with Christian, or either that, or it was on the pod that me and you were on together that we talked about Christian, because he went off for, a decent amount. It wasn't like it was like a low amount or anything. It was lower than he would have been for sure. It wasn't in the hundreds, but it was still like in the 60s or something, if I remember right. Wasn't it?
It was high. Yeah, it was in the 50s or 60s. And even Kupp, I think, was like, $15 or $20, but every dollar counts in these Guillotine leagues, and that could have been money that he could have invested on somebody else that could have helped his lineup this week, and now he's out. So
exactly. Which we'll look at who got picked up here in just a second after we're done looking through his team, and then we'll talk about that. He could have spent some money on some of these players potentially that he had on those 2 guys. Maybe he could have picked up a guy that would have salvaged him this week, from the players that he ended up missing out on. So yeah, we'll talk about that here in just a second. But yeah, I'm with you on that, Scott. That's a great point. He almost pulled it out though with Baker, and if Marvin had got that touchdown pass that he was wide the hell open for, that long touchdown pass, then he would have probably ended up pulling it out, because not you, but there was another guy that was just below you at 76 points. So he was only missed out on it by like 5 points.
Right.
It was close, man. He almost made the miraculous comeback. But yeah, so he had Marvin Harrison also. We mentioned that. So he'll probably go for a decent range, but he's definitely not like somebody that you're confident starting right now. So it's going to be one of those scenarios where I think he'll just have like his flash games from time to time when Murray decides he wants to look at him. Kirk Cousins, I don't think he might even be cheap. He might not even go for $1. He might just be somebody you can pick up this following day. Kamini Vidal, he had a disappointing showing this go round. So I don't think he'll be anybody that'll be worth a lot to snag for money wise, but I wouldn't mind hanging on to him if you have the space on your roster, because I think he has down the road potential. DeAndre Swift is another guy that I think will be a decent amount because he's coming off his bye and everybody's going to like the way he performed the last few weeks. And then Cooper Kupp, he was supposed to be back this week maybe, so he'll be back next week hopefully, and people are going to look at that and want to spend some money on a guy who, was getting 20 targets a game last time he played. So it's not a bad squad. I think there'll be some decent bids. They won't be great, but there'll be some decent bids. All right, let's talk a little bit about the players that got picked up, guys. So this was last week's pickups right here. So remember we talked about this the week before. There was Saquon and Derrick Henry were both available from this week. So this one here, I think somebody right here salvaged himself. If he did not make this pickup, ladies and gentlemen, for $93, the man in his hospital bed would have a reason for it, because his team would be on life support right now. Then we would be pulling the plug because this fool would have lost. So, Scott, you want to say anything about your amazing pickup that saved your week, your team?
Well, I mean, it was a good pick. I wouldn't have lost because I would have had Kareem Hunt in, who scored 22 points. So I think I would have been okay. But going into that week, I knew I had more money than I think everyone but one team, which was Super Biesto. So me and him had the most money. So I knew that I would at least get one of those running backs because I was going to outbid everybody else below him. So I said, worst case scenarios, I'll get one, and I almost got screwed and didn't get either of them, because if I wouldn't have bid a little bit more for Henry, Super Biesto would have got both of them. So I did put in for Barkley, but I'm actually glad I didn't get Barkley, because if you look at my roster construction, I already have Devontae Smith in there. I already have Stroud and Diggs, and in Guillotine, you really don't want to have multiple guys on the same team in your starting lineup in case, like what happened this week, where I almost got screwed because Stroud and Diggs both did nothing and almost cost me the week.
Yeah. And you got Derrick Henry for under 100, which is, the guy is looking like the RB1 right now, so that's a solid pickup, man. And you only outbid the next guy by $6. So I think it's a solid move, man. I really do. Good job. Good job, Scott. Speaking of the next guy, that's our boy El Super Biesto, who's the one that picked up Saquon Barkley. Also 11 bids, probably the same 11 guys, looks like it. And Scott bid the same amount as he did for Barkley. He just got outbid because El Super Biesto liked Barkley just a little better, which honestly to me, I think I'm more confident that the Ravens can keep what they're doing going for a longer period of time than the Eagles. So I probably would have, if you asked me which one I want to bid more on and I have to bid on one, I would bid more on Derrick Henry probably. That's just my opinion, but I don't think you're going wrong bidding on either guy. Either way, they're good players. Jaden Daniels went for $60, and then the Jaden Daniels effect kicked in. Man, Mean Machine, and look at the difference in cost. Outbid by a whopping $52.
That's so bad.
Man, that's
almost Joey-esque, man, from last week.
Yeah, Joe. He didn't learn from you.
He took my notes, but he didn't learn.
I know, right? And even with what happened to Jaden, he still scored 104 points in this week. So it's not like Jaden made a difference, It probably cost him points, technically.
Let's be real though. Jaden would have went off in that if he stayed.
Oh, he would have went off in that game.
He was going to cook.
He'd have been the slate break. He would have been the slate breaker for sure.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. C-Bomb is we forgot to mention. Good job, C-Bomb. See, look at this guy. He's on vacation on his special Ballsville, getaway / retreat, whatever it is he's doing here. But he's out there and he's still giving us insight, guys. Like that is the dedication that he's showing right here. He's probably just sipping a Mai Tai and some, beach shorts somewhere on the, under an umbrella. But either way, he's chiming in. So we are going to add one bench and one flex spot to these rosters, guys. So that is going to happen here. Moving forward, we're going to have a whole nother flex spot. I'm pretty sure it's the end of this week. I always get mixed up I think it's before the start of week 8 and not the end of week 8. So I'll double check with my co-commissioner to make sure that I'm on the same page with him. And if he's still listening, Trevor, feel free to chime in and remind me. But yeah, that's definitely going to happen here. If not this week, it'll be next week. And that is going to add a whole nother dynamic, guys, because all these people that think their roster is just set and they're not bidding on anybody are going to be like, man, I got to figure out what to do for my flex spot.
Right.
Especially if you're carrying guys that are out. We don't have big benches. So I know we're getting one extra bench spot, but, if you're carrying a couple guys that are out right now, like a Pacheco and a Cup, or, a Cup and a Puka, like a lot of people are, it's definitely going to be a difficult time. Next guy to go off was Evan Ingram for $33. I feel like that's because the tight end position has been so weak right now. People really want to make sure they get a tight end that they can count on. So Mike Evans, $25. Man, that was a good pickup, and then just brutal ending to that game, huh, guys?
Yeah.
He only outbid me by $3 for him too. It's a little frustrating, but thankful now because I need that $23. I don't have a whole lot left. Chris Olave only went for $6. I mean, I know he was hurt, but man. El Super Biesto bid 12, but he couldn't get him because he was already, probably because of his other transactions, he didn't have the money left. Fryermuth went for $6. Trevor Lawrence went for $3. Khalil Shakir 3. Ty Chandler 3. ETN 1, and then we had a bunch of guys for 0. Sean Tucker, after that big week and all that hype, he still didn't go for any money. That's funny. There was 2 bids on him. At least, that's saying something.
Well, and I think the guillotine league, since rosters are so, I mean, they're condensing, right, and they're consolidating. Like, you don't need to spend money on that.
Yeah, that's true. This is a good pickup right here, snagging Romeo Doubs for free.
For sure. Good job, Biesto.
Right? It looks like that was all that we had on that one. So we will go ahead and pick apart the Cheetahs show team next week, and then we'll see how that plays out for us, huh?
Yep.
18 heads in a duffel bag, my favorite name. I love this league. Thank God I'm still alive.
Jojo,
can't quite break that 100-point barrier, but I'm still living, baby.
What was that, Scott?
Are you in this league or the last league?
No, I'm in Braveheart.
Oh, okay.
And I can't say that I'm in it anymore. I'm out of it, but
because you got chopped.
Oh, look at JoJo letting the cat out of the bag on League 3. It's okay. We'll get to that.
I've been saying it all episode here, and I'm just like, I'm not in it anymore. I can't even enjoy this roster expansion. Anyway, I'll say my piece later. All good.
It's all right. We'll give you a chance to go ahead and give your team's eulogy. So we got a 132 score from 760 side, man. That's a great score, dude. Good job, bro. 108, another 108. This was a low scoring week in this league. I mean, you actually had a couple of teams down under 70 points. That's pretty crazy. But we still had a couple of good teams though, over 110, 124, 132, like I mentioned, the 106 for Cheeky. It looks like other than that, though, that's all of our top scorers. So our top scorer in this league was our 760 side. That's right, bro. Look at that. He had a great team too, man. Derrick Henry, Jahmyr Gibbs. Man, what a combo to have in your running back role, huh?
Yeah.
I think that's perfect. That's all he really needed, too. He only had another guy, Aaron Jones, who's got a 3-headed monster there with his running back core right now. It's a good, solid setup. Jared Goff at the quarterback looks like he's going to be consistent for you. So I like his lineup. Looks like he's going to be able to stay competitive for a while. Good job, my friend. All right. Let's look at our bottom scoring team. Let's find out who it is. And it looks like it's going to be our boy Kroos 24 at 55.82. I'm so sorry, my friend. You are out of here.
Ouch.
How many points do you have? 55. Oh, damn. Dude,
Yeah.
I'm the third of the week.
It was a rough week for him.
Lord.
He got
I
a
mean-
zero out of Dalton.
Yeah. Dalton was the big hurt for sure, man. I mean, like all four of his players right here were all underperformed on their projections. The only guy he had that overperformed was Zach Ertz, and he didn't even really like crazy high scoring or anything.
Zach Ertz.
There you go, right?
Dude.
Yeah, there's Zach
I've
Ertz.
been
Ready to
dealing with
hear
Zach Ertz.
my
Oh,
Zach
You're getting that
Ertz.
pub sub.
Zach
You're getting
Ertz.
that pub sub.
Yeah, Zach Ertz.
You can eat it in bed.
He has to eat it in bed. It has to eat it on the pod, too.
Yeah.
Oh man. So we're gonna have some good players to snag though, because his team wasn't terrible. He just had a bad week, man. James Cook is gonna be a decent player to get. He'll probably go for a good amount. Diggs,
he's got
even though he had a
Neighbors,
bad week.
too.
Neighbors is the man. Yeah, Neighbors gonna go up there pretty high, even though he didn't have a great week. He's still gonna be somebody who's coveted.
Adams.
Adams, yeah, another. I think he'll go higher than I think he should go. So I'll go out on a limb and say that I probably won't get him because I'm not going to be the guy that bids high enough to get him.
Is Javonte Williams a mirage?
I don't know, man. I really don't know. And I think he's kind of like a running back, an ugly name that could be productive because he's getting so many touches in running backs. Like it's all about volume.
Yeah.
He's just been so inefficient with them. But that last week was a great breakout.
That was his best game of his career.
Yeah. Kind of one of those things where you kind of want to see it again. But again, if you see it, you're probably going to be late and you're not going to get them. So it's kind of like what kind of volatility do you want to have in your lineup? If you can stomach it, go ahead. I'd probably lean into it.
I mean, it's unfortunate that he's on this team right now and he's going to be available this week because I think that he priced himself out of my range for guillotine, they being that he's on the team that's getting eliminated.
I mean, he's got
If
Carolina next week, guys. I mean, I would lean into it. I'd bid.
I would lean into it.
But that's the
But
thing
yeah.
is I'm not going to be the guy who, number one, I don't even think I have enough, and number two, I'm not going to be the guy.
Not necessarily like you, Sean.
I am because I'm in this league still, not like somebody else we know.
Guys, he's trying to sandbag it. Make sure you make your bid ahead of him.
Yeah. I mean, if you're dying at running back, I mean,
I think you got to play. I think he's a great play.
Yeah,
Scott,
like
I think he might be in the write-up for DFS if that's. I mean, he's going against Carolina. He might be a garbage pick to put in there.
Yeah, his salary, I don't think he'll jump up too much.
No.
Yeah, he'll be probably, I'll say $58.
I mean, I'm going to give you guys a preview. I mean, he's probably going to be in there. He's at home. They're at home. They're probably going to be the betting favorite. He gets goal line work. He gets some pass catching work. They don't really throw too much to the bat, but he's got 15 targets in the last 3 games. I mean, he's definitely going to be in the write-up. I'll just say right now.
Do you think they're gonna play Andy Dalton or they're gonna play Bryce Young against them?
I think you just put Bryce in, man. The year's over. Just throw the kid in there. Who cares? Just let him play. I don't like. What are you really getting out of your team with Andy Dalton necessarily? Like,
Yeah, I mean, he came in, played a couple good games, but now it's like, okay, now the season is officially like toasty. Our
That's what I'm
defense
saying,
can't
like,
stop.
if you know the end result, just play with what you got. I mean,
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm like, 'cause then at least you can have a much better idea. And going forward, is Bryce Young even showing me enough to where I'm not looking to invest in another quarterback already? And I
don't
honestly
know.
I don't think that's going to happen, but give him a shot. He's a first round pick, first overall pick. Like, got to give him at least one more chance.
I don't know, dude. I've seen enough of Bryce Young this year.
Didn't he only play for like 2 weeks or 3 weeks or something?
That's all I need.
Oh, it's great.
No,
He's
I
got
don't-
Michael
no,
Pittman
I
too.
don't invest in midget quarterbacks.
Speaking of quarterbacks underperforming, what are you guys thinking about Anthony Richardson, man? Do you think he's basically like a bust at this point? Are you gonna go out and call him a bust, or is it still like a jury's out?
I don't know. I said it a couple weeks ago, man. If you're in Dynasty, you better sell, get what you can for him now.
I mean, dude, the guy's barely throwing 50% of his complete 50% of his passes. I mean, I said from the get-go, like his accuracy issues are a real thing, but he did rush 14 times last week, so he could give you a floor. You just didn't get in the box though.
I mean, what was that old was it like the wishbone, like that college offense where it was pretty much just like quarterbacks, all they did was just like run the ball like every single play, and
Yeah,
they
the
had like
bone, the wishbone.
right? It was a wishbone, right? Like, what if they just run the wishbone in NFL, bro? And just like, Anthony, you can't throw that ball, dude. You're just gonna be in the fucking wishbone, and we're gonna try to open up massive holes, and you need to run your athletic ass through them. Every now and then you can throw the ball, but 99% of the time you're gonna run your ass right down the middle.
It's tough right now. Like he after that first week, I thought I was gonna like, dude, you guys were so dumb taking CJ Stroud over Richardson, that little pub sub bet. Like I had a 45-point week. I mean, it was a lot of fluky stuff. He threw a couple deep bombs, they got completed. But yeah, I think a lot of defenses are really just, I think they're playing a lot of zone coverage on him. And he's just not able to find the spots, or just let alone just complete passes. It's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's a tough scene.
I did take a few more shares of him in redraft this year than I was supposed to. I think I was
too heavy on him.
Yeah, I was listening a little too much to the all you talking heads out there talking up Richardson.
I was one of them. I'm sorry. I had hopes for him. I did. I mean, if it makes you feel any better, I'm suffering the consequences in my high dollar league, so I'm definitely taking the hit, right in the heart. It's not a light hit for me at all on my Richardson love. So just give you guys a heads up. I'm hurting as much as the rest of you. Ray Davis, he's got Ray Davis and James Cook. I was wrong about Ray. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna eat a little bit more crow again. That they are using him more than I anticipated they would. At least in this game, they did. If that continues, then I think that Ray might sneak his way into a flex, worthy role by the end of the season. So I mean, it's worth throwing a few dollars at him. And then of course James Conner, he's going to definitely be somebody that is going to go for a good amount of money. Which the fact that he's on the bench right now is shocking, and probably the reason that he's not moving forward. Because if he had 17 points in there and puts him in over Devontae Adams, then I think he might have survived this week, because there was quite a few teams with lower scores. Yeah, we had a 67. We had a 60. He only needed 5 more points. Wow. So yeah, unfortunately, that James Conner stat is what cost him. I guess the Ravens defense. Maybe he just assumed he wasn't going to have a good week. I get it, but I mean, it's a rough one, man. That hurts. It's definitely hard to take. Looks like he had a little back and forth with the thread about it too. So
he got a little butt hurt there. Rage quit.
This is what happens when you play guillotine leagues, guys. Sometimes you have these like little things that pop up when a week is looking bad for somebody, and somebody else wants to be fun about it. It sucks, man. It hurts your heart when you lose in these leagues, man. It does. Oh man. All right, let's go back and look at what happened in the paydays. If there was anything he could have done to save his week beyond putting the right guy in his lineup. Let's see here. So James Cook, speaking of, he did pick up a guy that he thought was going to benefit him, and he just didn't do it for him. And that's on my Bills. I'm sorry, man. We let you down.
Is this back-to-back weeks where your Bills has let someone down?
I mean, potentially. It wasn't Josh this time though, because Josh, you don't see Josh on this list, right? Like,
no, it was definitely the Ty Johnson v. Ray Davis last week, if memory serves me correctly.
I think it was.
The
Ty Johnson Ray Davis was definitely a mistake on my part.
Ty Johnson, you were just a week early, man, or a week early, because Ty Johnson got in the box this week, I think.
Yeah, he was just a week early. Yeah,
just a week early. Yeah, he's going into that, man. Don't worry.
I was thinking that. During that touchdown pass, I was actually thinking that, because I was really praying Dalton Kincaid would get that touchdown pass, and then it went to Ty Johnson, and I was like, oh, great. So I get the double whammy now. He comes a week late, and he comes and takes my touchdown for my boy. Like, great. Thanks a lot, dude. Way to double hit me, man. Give me the old 1-2. So the next guy to go up was DK at 31, who's another guy that got hurt. What do they have? Like, he said he had a sprain, right? And he's week to week, I think they said. Is that correct?
Week to week.
Look at this back-to-back week-to-week injuries. They both went for the same amount, and they both had a week-to-week injury. I wonder if that's a sign. Don't bid $31, guys.
Yeah.
But Jaden Daniels and DK going for the same amount. That is kind of surprising with the way quarterbacks have been. Although Jaden Daniels' hype, man, has been real.
I mean, but dropping Drake May might have been a bad decision, man.
I know that's what
I think Drake May is like definitely a quarterback you want to roster, especially with rosters expanding. And eventually, I think you guys go to 2 quarterbacks, right? So I'd pick him up.
Exactly. And I wouldn't have bid on Jaden that high if I had Drake May already as my backup quarterback. I don't think I would have needed to go after Jaden.
But he's QB1. You can't fault the guy. Like, if you just want the best player at the position at the given time, like, it's going to happen. People love name value.
But dude, and if he didn't get hurt, he was about to have a fucking game, dude.
He would have, yeah. There's no doubt
he was about to go off on those dudes, man. Yeah. So, like, it definitely wasn't a horrible move at all. But like you said, maybe there's somebody better he could have dropped, and then
I would have dropped somebody else. I'm not questioning the pickup. The pickups, he's in a smash spot. It, like JoJo said, but the drop was, you don't drop Drake May. You can't find anybody else on your roster to drop.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, man. I would have probably tried to hang on to him, and then if I ended up getting Jaden, I would have been like, okay, I'll throw Drake May up on the trade block. Maybe somebody will pay me $10 for him, or something like that, and get him instead of having to wait for him to go through the waiver with everybody else. So trade him away for maybe another player that you need a receiver, running back. Try to do something like that. So I'm with you guys though on that. I didn't even talk about the bids amounts. There was 8 bids on James Cook. Looks like the closest next bid was 31, so he overbid that one by about $19. So it's not terrible, but it's a little higher than you want it to be. This was an exact same amount of bid. He just over waiver claimed him. That's a brutal one. This one, Gross would have had it, but he didn't do it probably because of his previous pickup, so he ended up getting it at $31. And then now we're going to go into the one that I really wanted to talk about. Our boy Trevor picking up Mike Evans, getting a whopping 3 catches and a touchdown and a busted hammy. And look who he dropped to do it. Keon Coleman, who was in like the top 5 or something in receivers this week or some crazy shit like that. So that looks really bad, hindsight, right? There's 7 people that bid on him, granted, so it's not like he was the only one trying to get Mike Evans, but the fact that he dropped Keon and then the way the situation played out, that's got to be painful.
Are you still in this league, Sean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay. I wonder who's going to put in a bid for Keon Coleman.
I don't know. Maybe the same guy that Trevor outbid by $2 for Mike Evans. Thanks, Trevor. That makes me feel even better that he outbid me by $2 because I probably really need that. I don't think I have more than like $40 in this league. I only have like $40 in one league and like $60 in another or something. I don't have a lot of money. Jameson Williams went for $23, same as Mike Evans. That surprises me because Jameson hasn't really been doing too great the last few weeks, so I didn't think that his hype would be at the same level as Evans, but I guess Evans wasn't killing it either.
I think it's still a little high.
Yeah, $23 for that bid, and he was actually the second highest bid. Somebody else was trying to snag him for 31, but he already had somebody that he couldn't allow him to do it. That's crazy. He might have really needed the players though too. We forget to look sometimes at their rosters. They might really need to get some people on their roster to make it through. Although he picked up Puka, that's not going to help him this week.
No, another injured guy.
Yeah, he outbid the next guy by $12 more. Evan Ingram went for 13. That's a difference, huh? Compared to the last league.
Yeah, that's actually a really good deal right there. $13 for Evan Ingram's just been peppered with targets every week.
Yeah, and look at Tucker Kraft going for $11 too. That's not a bad move either, especially dropping Dalton. I mean, Dalton's not even rosterable, I don't think, in these leagues. Wow. So yeah, Ty Chandler went for $10. I feel like that's a slight overpay. It's actually.
I think that stemmed from the Aaron Jones uncertainty, though. Like you kind of felt like you had to bid a little bit in case he started.
I wonder if he had Aaron Jones on his roster too. That wouldn't surprise me. Tua going for $1. Look at that. That could be a steal, depending on what happens with him. Yeah. Do we have any other go? Ray Davis, look at that for free. Good job, bro. Now we're gonna go bidding on him because it didn't help out for the week, unfortunately. Yeah, that's about all we had in that league. So let's move into the one that we're really excited to talk about, because the team that got eliminated in this league is sitting with us, ladies and gentlemen. For the first time ever, we have an eliminated team live on the pod to discuss their misery, and I am so excited to see this. So,
do we have any like slow violin music?
No, right? I mean, let me see if I can find taps. Maybe, we might have something like that in here. That would be
actually, you see that message where it says a day ago. I wish there was a timestamp completely on that, but that was actually when Tank Dell dropped the touchdown. I was like, that was the beginning of the end. I'm just like not enthused about it. I wanted to call my shot. Hopefully try to sandbag my way into just a few more points somehow. It didn't work out. I was hoping for Travis Kelce to save me. Didn't work out either.
That was a day. So that was a day ago when you said
that was literally in the early morning slate, or over here because I'm on the West Coast.
Well, you definitely called your shot.
Oh, I was hoping to sandbag it. Like I was hoping that I'm going to jinx myself into a win. Didn't work out. Sometimes it works out, but didn't work out. Darnold was like in the first half was trash, and he got some garbage points later, but still didn't help me. But when you look at it, 53 points. I got a combined. What is this? 43 of my 53 points came from two players, guys.
Oh God.
Amon-Ra and Sam Darnold. The other 10 points across the rest of the roster. That's pretty impressive.
Man, Kelsey's been trash, man. Look at that. 5 freaking points.
Now, I'll raise you guys. The triathlon, because I know it's kind of guillotine-esque at some point. The triathlon league, I have a whopping 28.98 points from 7 players. That is a 4-point average for you mathematicians out there. 28.898. That is pretty. That's an accomplishment, I would say. I think I also posted.
That was your worst loss of the week too, and then I saw this.
Oh, then did you see that in the dynasty roster that I posted?
I got actually eliminated.
And did you see in the one of the dynasty leagues too, where I had a whopping 0.6 points from 3 players? Oh my God. It was a terrible week, guys. I'm literally doing my tallies right now. I have a spreadsheet of all my leagues, and I see a lot of L's in red going down the column in week 7. It's pretty sad.
Yep. Yeah. Thank God you were so in love with Tank Dell in the preseason.
Yeah, Devontae Smith, man. Look at that. Freaking
another one.
0.8 points.
Yeah. It is not the year of the slim receiver. That's for sure.
If I had, I think I would have been very close to Connor because he had 73 points. I had 53. AJ Brown, if I actually got him instead of Devontae, it would have been a very close matchup.
Oh yeah, because you ended up with that's right. You did end up picking him up last week. That's right. So you guys are going to get a lot of good players to take off of JoJo, though.
There's a lot of good players here. Not a lot of running backs. Tight end, and there's a couple tight ends there, and then a lot of receivers.
CD, Waddle, I think, could be alive again if he's back.
Oh wow, you got CeeDee Lamb and St. Brown, right?
Yeah, CeeDee Lamb and St. Brown. Yeah.
Oh, and Tank Dell too, Scott. Don't forget Tank Dell.
We'll forget about Tank Dell.
Yeah, right. That's funny.
Oh boy.
All right. Well, sorry, JoJo. Is that your only guillotine league too?
Yeah, it might be my last one too. No, I'm just kidding. I'll play again.
Well, I guess not really, because you're about to make it into a new guillotine level with the triathlon game starting next week.
Not if if I keep scoring 28 points, man. It's gonna be. I'll be chopped with the first wave.
So, and that is a great time to go ahead and announce that starting next week, we will be discussing the Triathlon League as well in this podcast, because it is now transitioning over to the guillotine phase of the Triathlon League. So if you guys are not familiar with this league, it is a 3-leg league. That's why it's called the Triathlon League. And its first stage is redraft, which is about to finish up at the end of the week. And then at the end of this week, we're going to drop the bottom 2 teams record-wise, and they're all going to go in just like a guillotine league. Those 2 teams players are going to go into the pool, and we're all going to bid on them. And every week for the next until we get down to the 4 teams, which I believe is week 14, we're going to eliminate the bottom 2 teams throughout the whole 20 per division league. So it's going to be continuous week to week. It'll be 2 teams eliminated, not just 1. So I think I might have I was sitting in last place at 1-11, guys, because we have a league median in this league. So I had literally won one game, which I think was the league median once. I don't think I actually won a matchup.
He's not.
So it's been that kind of a season, but I was able to sneak my way out of the bottom to this week. I believe I will be sitting at like 5th to last after this week plays out. So once that happens, we'll be able to know exactly who's going to be in the bottom spots. And JoJo, I think you might be right in that mix with all of us too. Now you're going to be right in that range, aren't you? Or you don't have like a few wins in that league, right? Like 2 or 3.
I have a few. I'm 3-11 actually. So I just made it. I'm third to last right now because it just updated. So I'm literally at the Mendoza line right there. D Payne and JM Hubs are 19 and 20. So if you just drop 2 teams, then I've survived into that phase.
Right. But there's also like you're matched up or you're tied with like 3 or 4 teams also at the same spot, aren't you?
Wait, is it by record or is it by points? I'm sorry for the chop.
It's got a record for it's record for the elimination aspect. Actually, I can pull it up on our screen here for all of us viewers as well.
It just updated. So right
now,
because
there's several teams at 3-11, but then they obviously go by. I think they go by points then, right?
Yeah. So right now it's J Hubs and D Payne.
The bottom 5 teams are all tied with the same record. So any one of those 5 teams could be eliminated by the end of this next week. So which includes myself. I'm in that range as well. So
no, there's 6 teams. 6 teams are 3-11.
Yeah. As I'm saying, there's a lot of teams at 3-11.
Oh yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. 6 teams are 3-11. Look at that, guys. 6 teams are 3-11.
Wow, we got 1 week left. 1 week to determine.
If it's by points, then Sean actually, because it's a tie, right? But again, you have to go for another week. But Sean and JM Hubs have the lowest points. Oh no, that's points against. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong points thing here.
Yeah, because points 4, since my record is what it is, my points 4 have me above everybody else.
That's right, that's true. Yeah, I was like wondering why I was out of order because I was at PA. My fault. I was not reading.
Yeah. So JM Hubs is very low at 473 compared to, and then 480 is right above him with D Payne, and then you jump up to 540, 547 for Alex, who's also in it, who's like right there at the bottom of the road with us too. That would suck if the two of the 3 co-creators of this league get eliminated in the first week and don't even make it into the guillotine. That would be brutal, man. At least
we know what we're doing.
Oh man, dude. We would have to name the trophy after Scott if he won like the only one to make it to the guillotine leagues, and then if he won it all, we'd have to call it some sort of Scott trophy. Like
there's some pretty good teams at the top.
There is, man. There is, dude. We've got who's sitting at the top right now? Let's highlight them.
Right now it's Jay Morris and then Sarah, our producer.
Yeah, Sarah's killing it too.
And then
look at Zoobs. Zoobies! He's in the third. They got nothing to worry about, and then you're sitting there right behind them in 4. So all you guys are totally fine. Like basically everybody who's not 3-11 is safe at this point. So if you're all the top 14 teams, you guys are GTG to make your way into the guillotine leagues next week. So or the guillotine portion next week. So yeah, this is going to be a fun little showdown here next week. This will be a fun one to watch, guys. If you're not paying attention to this league very much, next week is the week to watch. It's going to be fun, especially all 6 of us. Hopefully we'll have good matchups.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, let's go look.
Yep. 6 of you guys will be fighting for 4 spots.
Yeah, let's look at the week 8 matchups real quick before we jump back over and do our last run through those.
Look at this.
Let's see if we get some 3-11 matchups. Okay, so I'm playing against a good team. Of course, I'm playing El Super Biesto, who's already slated to kick my butt. And then JoJo, same thing. You're playing Maui James, who's slated to kick your butt. Who else is 3-11 with us? Jenny B, she's down there too, slated to get her butt kicked with the rest of us. Man, all of us 3-11 teams are playing good teams. I was hoping there'd be a couple of them matching up against each other. Oh, here we go. JM Hubs versus Alex. That's a 3-11 versus a 3-11 right there. So we're gonna, unless one loses and the other one still passes the league median, you might have a for sure two losses out of one of those guys, right? League median helps so
Yep.
much in this scenario for them.
Yep.
Refresh mine.
Refresh yours
Refresh the page.
on my screen.
Yeah, because I had Spencer Rattler, dude. I got to put my.
Oh, you're talking about. Oh my gosh, You really want me to? Were you worried about your projections, buddy?
Damn. No, that's week 7, dude. What are you talking about? That's week 7.
Come on, you're gonna make us go through all of
There
this.
you go.
Projections. Jeez Louise. Let me just go in here and let me set my lineup real quick.
You said you were gonna kick some butt. I just got axed, man. I got to at least have some positivity going to week 8.
Oh man, dude, I'll give you that one too, since you did just get knocked out. I'll give you that win. You got to get something, right? All right, let's go look back in here real quick. And by the way, guys, just so you know, I had already been knocked out of this league, me and Trevor both. So we sit here every week. I get to see this nice big blank screen when I go and look at this league for you guys. So this is the things that I do for you guys. Scrolling up here, and this was our payouts. Look at the top guy only went for $41 in this league. David Montgomery.
Wow.
Look at that. 2 bidders at the exact same amount. Dang, Zoobs. Just bid one more dollar, man, and you got this. You let Chiefs like jack him from you like that. That's your boy, too. That's your boy David, man. That's your lion, man. You let a Chiefs fan take your lion? Man. It's okay, though. You're still alive. You didn't get JoJo'd, so you're good.
That is very important.
Spartan 636 is sitting at Chuba Hubbard, $36. He picked him up for. That's not too at $9. It's not terrible. I always like to stay under $10. If I feel like I outbid by under $10, I'm happy with that. As I say that, here's a $13 overbid. So that's the ones that I'm like, oh, darn it. Marvin Harrison went for $16. Didn't even have to drop nobody. Zach Moss, $7. Chuba Hubbard, Kyler Murray. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention Kyler Murray. I knew I was somebody I was forgetting. Lad McConkey. There really wasn't a lot of good players coming out on this team. Look at that. Puka went for $5 in this one after the other one went for $20. Madison went for $3. I feel like that's a good pickup just because he's getting the carries. You know what I mean? Any running back who's getting the carries is even on a bad offense. Right. Not bad. Poor JoJo. He's got to watch that team every week. He knows what I'm talking about. Khalil Shakir picked up for $3. Is that a good deal?
Well, I called out Madison last week before we signed off. I was like, actually, he's going to be a sneaky pickup, and he actually had a really good game. He's got 23 carries. He's going to get the rock. Like, there's literally nothing else there. Yeah. They picked Zamir White to the curb.
Do you think the Aiden O'Connell injury makes a difference at all?
They picked up Desmond Ridder, by the way. Did you guys know that?
Yeah, they just did.
That's not going to matter, of course, but like at the same time. No, I don't know. I wanted just to see what they had in him. Obviously, it's going to be abbreviated. I don't know how they're going to what they're going to do with him. I think we should just let Minshew walk, but I don't want to get too into that. We got to end this podcast.
Yeah, we're getting up on the time clock here. Look at him. I'll get him back in a week or two. What are you trying to say? That Chiefs life ain't going to be around for a few more weeks? Messed up, bro.
Wait, what? About what? The Madison thing? No, I think he's fine.
No, I'm talking about Zoobs. Zoobs says that he'll get him back in week 2. Like, so he's basically saying that he's gonna get David Montgomery back.
Gotcha.
So yeah, all right, guys. So the only thing we have left to do before we sign off is we need to find our third team of the week, baby. See if it was our boy JoJo. Huh?
It was me. I was the poo team of the week.
53.36.
Yeah.
53.36.
The guy had 55 and the other guy had 64, I believe.
I think you're right. 55. 53.46. And next week we'll have a fourth league in here to do a poo-poo team of the week, or a third team of the week, as I like to call it.
I like the poo-poo team of the week. I think it sounds better.
You can make up the theme song for it that has poo-poo in it. How's that? The third team of the week, man. So how does that feel, by the way? Because I haven't actually had a chance to talk.
At least I want something to speak.
Does it feel as like stinky as I would assume? I'm just curious,
It's fresh. It's very fresh.
It's fresh. It's nice and warm.
Yeah. It feels cozy that I won something.
Hey, you know what, man? Everybody wants a trophy, right? You know,
Gotta have
I'll send your turd emoji trophy in the mail here. You'll have it sometime soon.
We'll have to put
Unless you
something
want
out
to come
for it.
on down and pick it up.
Well, we get when Ballsville becomes the biggest thing in fantasy football, then we'll be sending some kind of like something around that.
Yeah, right. We'll have
League.
when we get to the point where Ballsville is able to afford to give trophies away and things like that, we'll have an entire setup, man. You're gonna get a nice little turd team of the week, welcome package. You
What's
get
up, Diggs?
team of the week club, and I'm sure I'll be there at some point too. JoJo's gonna hold down the fort for me, but I'm sure I'll be joining at some point in the near future. Scott maybe too. It's gonna be hard to from his bed, but we'll see what happens. So, hey, I appreciate you guys coming down here today for this. I know that you guys are filling in for my boys on vacation, and JoJo, you're always welcome anytime you want. It's always fun to have you here, man.
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, this is this time works best for me in my schedule currently. So at least I can get some FaceTime with you guys on the pod every now and then, at least once a week, as long as you guys would have me. But stay tuned, guys. Scott, where can they find our tools and things like that again?
Yo, guys, go to theballsvillegame.com for all your latest fantasy needs. If you scroll down to the tools section, you will see mine and JoJo's tools on there. We do a lot of DFS stuff, a lot of stuff for season long. So many awesome tools on there that it's just basically a one-stop shop for you don't need to search around at different websites or anything. I make sure there's all kinds of stuff on there to help you guys with lineups. JoJo's been killing it with the prop bets and DFS. I mean, we've hit, I think, every week but one, as far as like DFS stuff. So, if you want to be winners, go there. We put a lot of time into this every week. And so please go and check us out. And like I said, even DFS, you can go on DFS. A lot of these websites, if you're not comfortable spending a lot of money, they have dollar games, they have free games. So just put together some lineups from our tools, put them in the free games. And if you like the lineups and they're winning and they're cashing and they look like they're cashing, then go ahead and put a few ducats in there and start winning a little bit of money.
Yeah, right.
Definitely. I definitely write it up for a cash perspective. So I feel like that's the best ROI where you can realize your expectation on what you're doing. Those large field GPPs with a lot of people in them, those things are tough to hit. So definitely have yourself a baseline. If you just have to beat one person in a head-to-head, like you have more of a realized expectation on how you guys can do and live another week to play. So that's where the efforts are geared towards, and want to see you guys succeed.
Right, and the write-ups. I mean, we don't just put the names in there like what plays to play. I mean, JoJo does a good job with his write-ups. He explains his rationale with his plays. So yeah, we're just not throwing guys in there and saying, hey, play these guys. There's actually a reason behind it. So we put a lot of time in these articles and these tools for you guys, so you guys can be successful on your fantasy weekends.
Absolutely. Awesome. And before we go, guys, there is one thing that I want to talk to you guys about real quick is, Scott mentioned it on the pod. We are going to launch the GoFundMe for our campaign for our Hurricane Relief Fund tomorrow morning. I'm going to go working on that tomorrow morning for me, which will be midday for all you guys that don't live on the Best Coast. So, but midday sometime, as soon as I get everything set up, I'm going to get the GoFundMe up and running, and we're going to have all that ready for you guys so you can start your donations early if you want to. We're going to run it at minimum through next Sunday when we do our fun little, what are we going to call that again, Scott? You had a cool name for it. What did you say it was?
Ballsville-a-thon.
Ballsville-a-thon. That's right. The Ballsville-a-thon. When we do that tomorrow or on Sunday, we're going to have a nice group of people. If JoJo, if you're able to jump in, you're more than welcome to be a part of it too. We want as many people as we can to do this with us. And, the whole goal and what we're trying to do is to raise money for some of our Ballsville community members that have been affected by these hurricanes out in Florida. Specifically, one of our good friends that's part of our group has been for a good while, was severely impacted by this. And, his entire life has been turned upside down. So we're trying to do whatever we can to help him out. And if you guys are able to, great. If not, please feel free to join in anyway. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're just going to talk through an entire Sunday of football, like we're all hanging out, having beers, drinking, and eating barbecue. So feel free to jump on the live feed with us. And please, if you're able to donate to the GoFundMe, we'll have a link tomorrow on Tuesday's pod so that you guys can join in and start helping with us. So, I'm hoping that we can do some good things for these people.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yes, always like and subscribe as well. Thank you guys so much for being here. We look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow on our Ballsville pod. Until then, guys, have a great night.
That's a wrap.